Welcome to the second viewing. This is Off the Cuff, so roll up your sleeves, pour yourself another drink. I'm Dan.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Drew.
Shaka bra. Well, guys, this is our New Year's Eve, New Year's Day kind of podcast celebrating 2016. Now, fun year overall, I would say, gents.
Started out a little weird.
It did start out very weird. But I think all in all, we had some good times, some good casts, some good memories. If I had time to make a flashback reel, it would happen right here. But, it was some good stuff. And to kind of celebrate, I suppose, in a way, the end of the year, we are going to tribute to what the cinema is putting towards our faces for the next 6 years. And that is Star Wars. So let's have a little New Year's Eve drink poo. Cheers, guys. Cheers to you. Cheers to the audience listening. Cheers to all the viewers, downloaders, everything out there. And to you, my two good friends.
There you go. Cheers to Star Wars, too.
Cheers, Star Wars. So, great segue there.
Thank you.
Whew. Great segue. Last time Drew was on the cast was briefly for about 10 minutes. The last time we talked about Star Wars The Force Awakens. Which I loved. Thoughts?
Great movie, 100% great movie. Like you mentioned before, some people don't like it. We kind of think it was great. I would say overall it was maybe a safe bet. As far as
I agree. But is that really a bad thing?
No, it's not.
I don't think it's a bad
especially
thing.
if you're going to jump into such a big and sort of renowned franchise.
And I think with the two, episode 8 and 9 upcoming, they can start to branch out there, but it was probably a good choice to do a safe bet with the first one that came out.
Yeah, it was kind of like what's the phrase, like, damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. Like, if they did a crazy thing, people are
going to find a way to not like it and criticize it.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. And besides that, the movie was great. And obviously, if you want to check out our cast on that, we'll link it. It's like episode 2. Looking back at it, it's kind of crazy.
It's an early cast for sure.
It was our first time recording at Drew's studio, actually, and that was the first time we kind of got the second viewing into rolling, because before that, it was more of a pipe dream me and Dan had for a couple months, or forever, I guess, in a way. And I guess Hateful Eight is technically our first episode, but Star Wars, I feel, is like our first professional episode, in a way.
Yeah, we upgraded so many different things, right? I mean, that's when Drew became a part of it, which really kind of completed the cast where we wanted it to be. So, that being said, it's cool to look back and see where we are now.
Yeah, and I think a more fitting. There cannot be a more fitting film to do that with, and that is Rogue One, a Star Wars story, Star Wars film.
Just some preface for anyone who's not super familiar. This is a side story or a filler. Like if you're a big anime fan, this is a filler arc, if you will. Right.
I guess it's a prequel entirely, right?
Yeah.
Or not quite.
Yeah, it is a prequel, I guess, because it's not a part of the... Well, it is a part of the main storyline, but it's still not a part of the 6 becoming 9 main episodes. So
it's before everything we've seen so far.
No, it's...
Oh, no, right, because 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, 1, 2, and 3.
Fair enough. God, I always fucking forget that. Yeah. Confuses me all the time.
It's essentially, it's supposed to be filling a gap to how they get the plans for the Death Star, right? So it's kind of, how this happened.
Right. That's pretty much the whole plot of the film, is how they're getting the plans. Right?
Yeah. 100%. So...
and we got another white British female actress playing the lead here. Her name is Felicity Jones.
Felicity Jones, our girl, kind of looks like a monky to me. Well, Am I the only one who thinks that? Like a monkey face.
Quick flashback to Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them with Eddie Redmayne.
Oh yeah, very much. As far as the mouth is concerned, like the way that they talk,
it's very like high pitched and then low. I never thought that I would be so sad. The whole time, but that's besides the point. She plays the character Jin. Is that her name? Jin.
Jin.
Yeah, it's spelled Jyn.
Oh, I would say Jin then.
So Jin, I guess.
So shout out to Black Fox Farm and Distillery. We are known for our gin, so hit us up if you want some of those products.
Wow. Wowzers. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, is that a little bit of an alarm going on here?
I think they have a slight alarm situation.
You got to get that 7 p.m. alarm.
That was just an alarm that we had too much product placement in one episode, so we'll leave it at that.
Wow.
Anyways, besides the point, friends and family out there listening.
Let's continue with some of the cast.
We got Felicity Jones playing Jin. Felicity Jones was nominated for an Oscar last year for The Theory of Everything. Also starring my boy Eddie Redmayne. 2 years ago, sorry. Anyways, then we also have Forrest Whitaker as, I forget his name, the guy who did the Jin goes to find him to...
He's essentially the guy who
I'll look it up. I'm looking it up.
rescued or was part of Jin's father's plan in case anything bad happened to his family. His job was to then rescue... I think the plan was to rescue his wife and Jin. However...
Saw Gerrera, by the way.
Saw Gerrera.
Yeah, Saw Gerrera.
Saw Gerrera, yeah.
Apparently he was in the Clone Wars, and that's why he's relevant in the story, because he... I did hear that somewhere, that like in the Clone Wars cartoon or something like that, he's like a prominent character.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I like how they're bringing some... I don't know if the Clone Wars animated films are canon or not, or what separates canon from not, but I like how they're kind of tying everything in with these films from like some other animated series and some other books and stuff.
That's fair.
And
honestly.
that's maybe somewhere where Kyle and I lack knowledge in, because
I don't have very much either, yeah. But
we're Star Wars fans, but we're not as much. I think it's cool to tie in some lore. However, I think this movie almost felt like it was very much for the fans, and it almost felt like it was by the fans. Not in terms of quality. Quality was great, but it felt like it was. You know, if you've ever seen a fan-made movie, it almost doesn't stray away from the main points of the movie. It kind of just it's the idea of it is to see some cool Star Wars shit in action.
It gives you what you want,
which
right
is
away.
what
It gives you what you want right away, and it doesn't necessarily. But I don't know. It's hard for me to say in a couple ways, because this movie is so, or the story itself is so defined by itself. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of more for it to build upon or build less of. So
not a lot of room to kind of...
Yeah, there's not a lot of room. It's hard to say if you were to build upon it, would that become contrived? Like, if they made something in this movie that was relevant in episode 8, that kind of pissed me off. I'd be like, as if.
Yeah.
You know, like, as if. It's like 80 years difference or whatever, maybe.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to believe. That being said, I do think the fan thing is so true. I think that's what we talked about. We were, like, saying, like, this seems like the best fan Star Wars film I've ever seen. And in many ways, that's not a negative thing. I think it's more or less, it gave people what they want in maybe a way that's a little bit more noticeable. It's like, would all these characters have to be in there? It's like you have to throw in C-3PO and R2-D2 just because.
Yeah.
Just for a split second.
Exactly. And that's the direction it points me in.
Yeah, and then I see what you're getting at with that. 100%.
For the deep, big fans.
Some other actors in this film, we had Mads Mikkelsen as Galen Erso, a Jen's father. I love Mads Mikkelsen. That guy's a badass motherfucker.
What else is he in? I recognized him right away, but
he's in the show Hannibal. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
He's
That'd
also
be the most recognizable thing for me.
He's in like a fantastic movie called The Hunt. Highly recommend The Hunt. It's like a foreign film that came out like 3 years ago. That's the first thing I ever saw him in, but holy shit, is he good in that? But yeah, Hannibal's probably his most like. I think it's still on. I could be wrong. I'm not like I don't know things. I don't watch enough TV. Mm-hmm. But watch Westworld though, because that's a good show. Guys, I'll let you know.
All right.
Anyways, what else we got here? We have John, this is your favorite character for sure. Diego Luna playing Cassian Andor.
I got beef with Caspian, all right? The guy pisses me off a little bit. Like, come on, dude, really? He kind of, I mean, from what I understand, his history as an actor has been fairly positive as far as response is concerned. I wouldn't say I hate him as an actor, but his fucking character pisses me off. It kind of just feels like, why are you here, dude? Really, please, like, why are you here? Like, let fucking Jin run the task force. I want to know more about Jin. I could really give a shit about you, Caspian. Like, I don't understand what he does. Like, I'm not kind of just around. Like, he's like the ultimate support network, and by the end of the movie, it's like he kind of becomes a slight romance by the fact that they're like hugging, and I think they're about to embrace as
the world ends.
The world ends.
Do that remind me of is Melancholia? That scene in Melancholia where the world's ending. That kind of reminds me of that. As the sky is falling apart and they're just sitting there.
Yeah, the thing is,
it was a little bleak like that.
The world ending can be super. It can be very, very powerful as long as the buildup is there, right?
Yeah, because the stakes are huge, and like what I liked about that part is that Disney or whoever the director was, had the balls to kill everybody. Because he very easily could have been like, let's make this a happy ending and make them get away on some like extra, ship or whatever.
That's right.
And everybody died, and the plans were,
That is a
got
ballsy
right.
move.
but
And
everybody died, and that's a ballsy move. I'm glad he did it.
That would make me pissed off if they did escape and they came back in the next episode.
Oh, that would have sucked.
That would suck because I like a side story to remain a side story. I like it to remain its own thing, like
That's
a
what it
mini
is, yeah.
feature. So I think that's cool about it. I've got some gripes with character development. Is probably my biggest thing about the movie.
I was just gonna say that's probably the biggest thing for me. Is like I would care about this all dying. I would care a lot more if I just cared about those characters in general.
Yeah.
And that's the whole downfall of the film for me, I think. Especially coming off of Force Awakens, where it's like, honestly, fuck, I love Poe. I love Rey. I love Kylo Ren. Like, Han and Leia in that film. I love all those guys. Like, I'm curious, or Finn, too. What's going on in that movie? Like, I haven't seen that movie in probably almost a year now, and I can still remember their names and remember their arcs.
I couldn't even remember the characters in this movie's names.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I think that's because, like, the rest of the film
That's the separating
is
part.
technically perfect.
Yeah.
It's a fucking gorgeous movie.
Yeah.
CGI is.
Yeah, what
probably
do you
some of
guys think about the CGI?
I think it's some of the best I've seen, to be honest. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna.
I've never seen anyone really pull that kind of off as well.
I've never
seen in
liked
this movie.
CGI. I'd rather they do in The Force Awakens, like they did a lot of like
Practical stuff.
stuff.
Yeah.
But when the CGI is just good and you can't even tell, like I didn't even know till after the movie that Imperial officer Tarkin.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even know that he was dead. Sorry, I didn't even know that he was a CGI character in that
Yeah.
movie.
That is a gripe that has been kind of plaguing most people lately. It's like that's the thing.
I only noticed because it was brought up to me before I walked into the movie.
Oh really?
Right.
So it was like I subconsciously was kind of looking for it, but especially with Imperial Officer Tarkin, I noticed a lot less than Leia. Leia was
Leia was a little fucky.
it was a little bit more noticeable, but even then I was
Yeah,
happy with
that's
it. I mean,
true. That's
I
true.
gotta say, like, if the intention was to really please the fans with this movie and just give them a little bit more action to tide them off until the next movie. Then they did it with Princess Leia. I mean, who doesn't want to see Princess Leia in action again? By the way, R.I.P.
Yep.
Yeah. Rest in peace. That's very sad. Carrie Fisher. Actually just saw her speak like 2 months ago at the expo in town here.
Really?
Yeah. She
Oh,
did.
yeah.
Like, she like a keynote speak, and she talked about like fucking Harrison Ford and all these crazy things. She's like hilarious. She's like
Really?
crude older woman like that. Just like I didn't give a shit. It was just like telling it like it is. It was pretty cool. Like she was really fun to watch, honestly.
No way.
So I gotta straight up R.I.P. to her. That's really sad.
It's cool that you got to see her. You know.
And I think that's, and I mean the ending, like that was like the Tarkin thing. I had no idea either. I'll be honest with you. I had no idea, and it didn't bug me much either, even afterwards, because I was like, damn, that looked real to me. So
Yeah, I was like,
sure, it's a little odd, but
when I was watching it, I was like, how is this guy still alive? Because like when was A New Hope
Yeah.
made? Like
That's good.
77 or something?
yeah,
I was
like late 70s.
But
Yeah,
he's not. So
Damn, he's looking good for
yeah, it's
120.
Yeah.
damn, yeah, I don't know, but and the Leia thing, yeah, that was obviously fake, but at the same time,
good enough. Like,
good enough. Exactly, and it was so quick. It'd be different in my mind if she had lines to give.
yeah, a role the size of Tarkin's or like.
Exactly. Like it was 10 seconds of the film. She said one line.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
and you know what? I want to point out that if she wasn't there, it wouldn't have changed the movie. But I think this movie was the idea to take maybe a little bit more of a risk and potentially force some old school fans to tide them off to the next movie. So that being said, her appearance is justified in a certain way. As good as the CGI was or not, it was a
It's
cool
fine.
addition.
It makes it feel so much more immediate to A New Hope because that ship is leaving.
True.
Can't remember what they're called anymore. I used to be a way bigger Star Wars fan, but it's leaving and Princess Leia's in it, and Darth Vader just tried to get the plans, but that ship left. So that's exactly where A New Hope starts off. So it's like literally 15 minutes later is when A New Hope starts. That's really cool.
Crazy, actually.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. That I'd like honestly. That to me, like this movie, I don't know how do I put this. Like outright, it's hard for me to say this movie is bad. And it's hard for me to say this movie is great.
I've heard some people say that best Star Wars ever. I
cannot
don't know.
agree.
I can't agree with that. Episode 5, Episode 4, Episode 7 to me also.
Fuck. I mean, honestly, maybe a controversial topic, but I'm about to say Episode 7 is my favorite one.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite one because
I'd go third favorite.
that to me is. That's taken the fan aspect that I think is too prevalent in this film in the right direction.
Yeah.
It's checking off all the boxes, but it still provides characters you care about and development you care about. Hell, I might like the next ones even better, but up to this point, I think it's a great starting
I think
point.
Episode 7 accomplished what the prequels tried to do.
Well,
And I still like the prequels because they came out when I was in grade 1, 3, and 5, and like Star Wars Lego was huge, Star Wars video games were huge, and I didn't care about how good a movie was at the time. I just liked.
Well, it's nostalgia at this point too. You're
So,
like, hell, I liked it then. I'm not gonna all of a sudden hate it.
For people our age, when the prequels came out, probably didn't like it that much, but I was young enough to love it, and it all like fits into a story now, whether or not the CGI was bad.
I honestly could not care less about Star Wars for like years, and I was like, fuck, I just gotta watch Star Wars. And I'll be honest, it really like the second one, I guess, like Empire Strikes Back. That was one that got me.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, this makes sense to me, and I understand why these films are important. I mean, I can always appreciate them. I was never against them. I mean, we talked about this a bit more in the Force Awakens episode, but I do appreciate seeing more of a stretch, I guess, with this film and trying to look at other aspects of the series and stuff. Do I think it's my favorite film? No. Do I think it was... You know, it feels bad because it seems like a bit of a sidestep to me in a way, because the last film was of a better quality in my mind.
Yes, but like we discussed in the car after we left the movie, is if there was any movie to maybe fuck up or try something new on, it's a side story. Yeah. It's not comparison. Yeah. It's not a main story. Yes, it is a prequel, or it ties into the next movie, but in my opinion, it's most of what goes on in the movie you don't necessarily need to know. It's cool to know it.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily need to know it to continue the story, right? So that's kind of what separates it as a little bit more of a side story for me.
There's also still 2 more side stories coming out, so those will probably be maybe more risk takers as well. A Han Solo origin and a Boba Fett origin.
Yeah, Boba Fett origin. Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's going to be
cool.
cool to look at the side stories and compare the side stories, because right now all we really have to compare this movie to
is the Force Awakens.
Yeah,
which is not really.
But
in the same category.
I gotta say, yeah, you're right. It's not fair to put them in the same category, but it's hard not to compare them. And at the same time, I'm already instantly more excited for the Han and Boba Fett stories, because I don't know those stories. I knew this movie before going into it, technically.
You technically know how everything resolves.
I think this is the first thing I told you, Daniel, was like, to me, this is a movie that's... It's like a movie that's based on a true story that doesn't add anything to the true story.
Right.
So, I mean, take a film like one of my favorite movies, The Social Network. That's based on a true story, but it takes an approach, and it takes a different tone, and it tells a story in an interesting way that adds to facts that you already are aware of. Whereas maybe a movie like, in my opinion, The Blind Side, terrible movie that is based on a true story. Yeah, I mean, whatever, props to the real life people. Good for them. That's awesome. I'm happy for you. But that movie doesn't add anything to it. If anything, it's just lighthearted fluff.
Yeah.
I wouldn't quite call this movie fluff, but at the same time, I don't think I gained anything from it.
Yeah. So
and it's hard for me to, I don't know, it's like I keep talking about this and I sound so negative when I talk about it. But I don't want to say it's a bad movie.
Though, right? Like we appreciate seeing the new movie. We appreciate seeing new scenes.
If this was standalone, and it was just like some space mission where they're trying to steal plans and a fight happens, it'd be a fucking awesome movie.
Good point. That's so fair, man. Honestly, that's
and so maybe that's our problem, is we're a little bit critical because there is such a history and legacy of these movies. I mean, they've been 40 years of Star Wars, really.
That's crazy, man.
Right?
That's a lot of Star Wars.
That's a lot of Star Wars, and they've kind of redefined the category of sci-fi in a certain way.
Oh, 100%. I mean, Star Wars is a huge. I mean, nerds exist because of Star Wars, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Like, you know, Star Wars is such an institution at this point. It's such an important part of many people's lives, and I mean, I like the idea knowing that every holiday season I can go watch a new Star Wars movie. Yeah, like that is nice. Yeah, and I mean, I'm looking forward to the next one, and the way they're setting these films up is interesting to me because the directors they're choosing, it's a very current Disney and current Marvel approach, where they take directors who are known for indie films. I've done like one really good indie film and throw them into fucking like
a big mainstream movie.
Throw them into Star Wars, throw them into Captain America, and it's kind of, some of it works, some of it doesn't. But you know, this guy Gareth Edwards, he directed a movie called Monsters.
He did Godzilla too, right?
Yeah, he did Monsters, which was like a small, low budget monster film, and then went up to do Godzilla, which was like a big budget, big monster film, I guess. So I mean, this actually brings up an interesting point I just kind of thought of, was like, in that movie, the biggest complaint was that Godzilla wasn't in it much.
Really? I thought that was like the best part about the movie.
Well, it is the best part, but the other bad part was that he wasn't in.
Oh.
Like, or what are you saying? Like
I thought that
he wasn't
Godzilla,
in it too much?
like everybody at this point knows what Godzilla is. Right. They don't need to see Godzilla for 90 minutes of a movie. If you have him as this like ominous creature that's hidden in the back the whole time, and then when he comes, it's like he fucks shit up like Darth Vader did in this movie.
Dude, I'm so glad you see it that way, because that's actually how I saw it too. But I've been seeing so many people saying like, well, he's barely in it, and that's what we really wanted. It's like, no, we're trying to put mystery around it. We're trying to put importance on it.
I'm so glad they did that with Darth Vader in this movie too. He had like 2-3 scenes maybe, and then the ending scene where he just absolutely ruined all those rebels.
He was brought up several times.
He's playing Wii tennis basically at the end. He's wagging his sword around.
One of my favorite things that I think a lot of people didn't like was the scene on. I think they said it was Mustafar at this point now, where he got all of his limbs cut off by Obi-Wan in Episode 3, the volcano planet.
Okay, yeah.
So that's where his castle or his lair is kind of Darth Vader's lair, which is revealed in this movie. It's never been spoken of before.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. And like he's in that what's the word? Back to tank, which is like this tank where he's like incubated and hanging like this.
Kind of like Stranger Things.
Yeah. I thought that was super cool that they had that.
So that's okay. That makes sense because I was curious about that because I had no idea what that meant. I was very confused. Yeah. So it's his.
It was just kind of his like place to relax and stuff like that.
And like that's how he was like healing and kind of doing it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I mean, like, you're totally right. You brought this up right off the bat, Dan. It's like this. If you're a big Star Wars fan, you're gonna get a lot more out of this.
You're gonna like it to an extent. I mean, how could you not? It's more Star Wars content, really, and it's a big budget film, and it's made really well. My gripe, I guess, is gonna be a little bit of character development, and the thing that I would leave on my thoughts of this movie is that Star Wars, Disney, we're gonna hold you to a high standard. You have a high standard. You've got 40 years of Star Wars behind you.
Yeah.
Let's make some good movies here. This wasn't bad. It was good, but listen, it wasn't amazing. It didn't blow my mind.
It's. I mean, bringing up Disney and all this is really prevalent to me because this is the biggest gripe I have with the Marvel movies currently, is that the last like 5 Marvel movies haven't been great, but they've all been good. They're all like 7s out of 10s, 8s out of 10s. Like none of them are like shit by any means because they're very well made films and they check off all the boxes.
And that's likely because they want to cater to a larger audience.
Yeah, and they want to get people in the seats. They want it to be accessible, but none of them are great lately. People would argue that Civil War is a great movie. I argue that it's watching The West Wing for 2.5 hours. But it's I don't know. I saw this bleed into Star Wars, which makes me scared a little bit. I'll be honest, because this to me is like that. It's very much. By no means am I trying to say it's a bad movie. It's a great movie in a lot of ways, but it's not like of a higher quality, and it's not even of the Force Awakens, unfortunately. That being said, it is the one I think if they were to mess up, it is this one. I did say that, and I'll stand by this. If there was one they were in, again, I sound so negative talking about this.
It's not messing up. It's just
I sound
if there was
so
one to
negative.
take risks on.
It was this.
One.
It was this one.
Yeah.
Or risks that didn't land, I guess, because I'm all for taking risks, but for me it didn't quite land. It's like they were focused on so many things that worked and kind of forgot about the characters, which at the end of the day, Star Wars, we care about the characters because like you were saying, sci-fi was embedded because of Star Wars. At this point, we want the Star Wars characters. Sci-fi could be anything now. We remember Darth Vader, we remember Luke, we remember Leia. We want those memorable characters, whether they're part of canon or not. Sure, they kill them all off, but I still want to go buy a Jin toy. I'm never going to buy a Jin toy now.
I think that's Jin. Part of it, though. You know what I mean? I think that's part of it is like maybe they didn't spend a lot of time on the character development because they were going to wipe them all away at the end.
But to me, that's a cop-out.
Yeah,
that's a cop-out.
That's a bit of a cop-out.
I would like to think that's not the approach, because like Drew said, it's a ballsy move.
Wrong. Maybe that's where they went wrong.
Well, there's a few behind the scenes things about this movie too. Like there was multiple reshoots, multiple rewrites.
Yeah.
So we'll never probably ever know how much that plays into this, but you can maybe make some assumptions that maybe that's why certain characters aren't established as much as others. Again, it's all speculation. Like for instance, the one guy, like the Chinese dude with the sword, like I am the Force with me. How badass would it have been when he was walking onto that field and then a saber shot up and he was a Jedi out of nowhere? Would have been so cool.
Yeah.
But like
he would have been the unknown like the Jedi myth, and they could have brought him up in a future side story where they were like,
remember him? He was a great warrior.
Or they could have mentioned there once was a warrior who was blind and walked with a staff or some shit like that.
It's just like he kept talking about the Force the whole time. How are you not a Jedi? I don't know. Yeah. That kind of peeved me a bit because I was like, that would have been so tight. Even if he still died. Whatever. It still would have been tight as fuck.
There's like some fucking diehard Star Wars fans
who hate us right now.
Who hate us.
Honestly, every time we do one of these, we get shit. The last time we did the fucking Harry Potter one, got so much shit. I don't care. If I have to, I'll stab by this. If I have to watch 8 movies, read 7 books, and look up online lore to get one movie, not a good movie.
Yeah.
Standing by that.
I agree.
This one, on the other hand, it's still coherent. For sure. It makes enough sense. The story is there, and the story is fine. It's just the characters that are lacking for it. If they keep this amount of quality for the effects and shit for the upcoming films...
They're on the right track.
Yeah. I see nothing but good 100%. Things. And the next guy who's directing... I'm going to bring this up really quick. The guy's doing the next Star Wars movie, which is episode 8, right?
Yep.
That one is actually one of my longtime favorite directors. He directed a film called Brick, which is an indie film featuring Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It's like one of these... It's a long story, but it really got me into liking indie films and film in general. So I'm really excited to see his take on that. He did the movie Looper, if you guys ever saw that, with Bruce Willis and also Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah. He probably has a hard on for him, I don't know. But I'm looking forward to that. And I think everyone's kind of saying, well, this will be this Empire Strikes Back. This is the one they take a bigger risk on, kind of thing. So we'll see.
We'll see what happens.
I don't know. I guess so. Dan, final thoughts. Would you recommend Rogue One, a Star Wars story?
Yes, 100%. I would. I wouldn't go in expecting the best movie of all time, but I'd go in expecting a good movie. It is. It really is.
True.
Definitely also recommend it. I wouldn't put it in my top Star Warses. Wouldn't be in my bottoms either. Somewhere right in the middle. Great flick, standalone, or if you're a fan of all the movies, works.
And I'm similar with these guys here. I think go check the movie out. You're gonna have a fun time watching it this holiday season. Grab someone special or some family members and go out and watch Star Wars, because there's something special about that in and of itself, I think. That being said, not my favorite Star Wars movie, but I'm happy it was made, and I'm happy to see what they do next.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's probably going to be an ending note on that.
That being said, cheers. Thanks for tuning in to Off the Cuff.
And we'll see you guys in the new year.